Hello everyone, welcome to web programming class. In this class today we will discuss about arrays. In the last lecture we had a discussion on a loop control and the flow control and the loops, and in this case we had discussed the concept of flow controlling using how to control the flows. We discussed by using if and switch structures, and also the concept behind the while and the for looping structures we also completed. Okay, and we also solved some problems using the flow control and loop structures in the previous class. Okay, so then when to use a if else and a switch statement. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು if else ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು switch statement ನ ಯಾವಾಗ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ if the action to be taken of the value of a single variables or an single expression ಯೂಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ವಿಚ್. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಅಥವಾ ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ನೀವು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. when the action depends on the values of multiple variables or the expressions. ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಥವಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸ್ ದ if else structure. Okay, and the compound statements, we already know about the compound statement. So here at times we need to put a multiple times at a place where JavaScript accepts only one. ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನಾದರೂ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಪುಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Okay, and in this case for those situations JavaScript provides a way of grouping multiple statements. ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು, ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು instead of single statements, and those grouping of statements can be placed within the pair of braces. Those are called as a compound statements. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಪೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರೇಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರೇಸ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರೇಸ್ ನಡುವೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ನೋಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಆಲ್ದೋ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಮಿಕೊಲನ್, ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಡಸಂಟ್. ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಎಂಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ಸೆಮಿಕೊಲನ್, ಬಟ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಎಂಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ಸೆಮಿಕೊಲನ್. Okay, this is about a compound statements. And see here example for the for loop. This is variable x, and here we are using a while loop, and this is the same thing is done by using a for loop here. See here, while x is greater than 6000. Okay, in this case we are going to print the value of x. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ here I am going to print the value of x, and x is equal to x plus 1. After that the x will be incremented. To do so we can use the for loop instead of using a while loop, where in the for loop we are using a counterparts, where we can initialize the variable and check the condition, and after that we can increment or decrement the value of that counter variable, and we can print the statement or a value of a variable. Okay, and see then when to use a for and while loop. Already now we can discuss when to use a if and switch statements, we got to know. Then the one more question is there, when to use a for and while loop. See here, when the exact number of iteration is known, if we know the exact number of iteration, in that case use the for loop. If we don't know the iteration, and when the number of iteration depends upon the condition ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟ್ರೂ ಆಗೋವರೆಗೂ ಅಥವಾ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋವರೆಗೂ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಅ while loop. Okay, when the number of iteration depends upon the condition being met, in that case we have to use the for loop. Or for in certain cases, if you know the number of iteration to be carried out, in that case you have to use a for loop. That's better. Okay, and in this case for loop becomes specially useful when used in conjunction with the arrays. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಅರೇಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬೆಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಅರೇಸ್ ಟುಡೇ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೋವ್ ದೇರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಅರೇ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಟುಡೇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅರೇಸ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ why we need arrays, and after that we will become to able use the arrays for solving the problems and writing some different programs using the arrays and for loop structure. Okay, and today's concept is arrays. So as we know, what do you mean by array? So as we already learned arrays in a C programming, C++ and Java programming language. In all those basic programming language, we defined array as a homogeneous collection of it is a collection of homogeneous data types of an element is called as a arrays. Okay, and here the array is also defined as it is a indexed list of elements. because the element is indexed by 0 to n minus 1. Okay, and we say that variable is a container that holds a value. As we have previously discussed in the previous classes or videos, like variable is just acting as a container in a JavaScript where we are going to place a value. Similarly, array is also container where it stores multiple values instead of storing a single value. If it is a single variable, in that case we are going to just store a one value, that is a 10. So what if you want to store a multiple values, like if you want to store a values like a is equal to 10, 20, 30. Okay, in this case there is a error. We can't store multiple values into the single variable. Again, if you want to store a values like this 10, 20, 30, okay, in this case this whole value will be treated as a string. It's not a separate values. So instead of this, if you want to store a values, how we can store a multiple values? That is like this 10, 20 and 30. Now these all values are stored in the variable a. In that case, this variable is termed as what? This variable is termed as a array. Understanding what I am telling and what is the difference between storing a multiple values in a single variable and in a array. Okay, now these 10, 20 and 30 values are stored as a arrays, and the index of these values will be, this is 0, 1 and 2. As we know, the array index starts from zeros and end with the n minus 1. It is same as C, C++ and other programming languages. Here also the array index starts from 0 and ends with the index n minus 1. Okay, and see. So as I told, the array is an indexed list of elements. See, there are many ways assigning identifiers to the fruits. So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು fruit ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಐತ್ರಿ. If you want to store a multiple values for this fruit variable, in that case you have to make this variable as a array so that you can store a different types of fruits in a one variable. Okay, and see, that is, this is strawberry fruit, this is fruit 1, and we have to make it as a separate variable, fruit 1 for orange, fruit 2 for fruit 1 for strawberry, fruit 2 for orange, and fruit 3 for apple, and fruit 4 for watermelon. Instead of this, if you make a single variable fruit and make it as an array variable, in that case fruit 0 stores strawberry, fruit 1 stores orange, fruit 2 stores apple, and fruit 3 stores watermelon. Okay, so this is the advantage of using arrays. And see here, a fruit 0, fruit 1, fruit 2 and 3 are elements of an array, and fruit is the identifier for that array. And here the length of the fruit is 4, and fruit has 4 elements. If the length of the array is 4, then there must be a 4 elements in the array. Okay, and see, fruit 0 is, let us take a look at the one advantages of using the arrays. And see here we are creating a variables student 1, student 2 and student 3, okay, and student 4. Here I am storing the student name respectively, like student 1 is equal to Wasim, Walker, Jacqueline and Danish. So these are the respective student name. And if you want to print the particular student names, each and every time I have to write a document.write statement. So instead of this, if you create a array of student, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಅರೇನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ಬರೆಯೋ ಬದಲು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್ student is a now array and it is instantiated by using a new keyword or operator. And here this array objects, here we are creating an array by using an array object and using a new operator. And see here, if you want to create a array in a JavaScript, in that case you have to create a one variable, and this variable, to make it as array, how to use a new array. In that case this student become array, and this specifies the length of the array. Okay, this is the array declaration, and this is the initialization. Here I am storing the values like Wasim, Vakram and Jacqueline and Danish. Okay, so can you see the advantage of using the arrays using arrays with a for loop? See here, so just by using a for loop you can you can only write one printing statements instead of writing 4 statements. ಸೊ ನಾವು 4 ಸರಿ ಏನೋ ರೈಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಿಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅ printing statement so that it will reduce the length or complexity of the program. Okay, see here initially the value of x is 0 and 0 it will access it, the pointer will be point to the first value, and x value 0 is less than 4, yes, then increment the value of x, and this is the post increment, and the control will come into the inside the loop and it will print the value of x as a wasn. So x is now x is 1, so 1 is less than 4, yes, increment the value of x, x become 2, and print the value of student of x, that is 1, so it will print Walker. And similarly it will execute until this condition become false. When x is equal to 4, so the condition become false, the control will come out of the loop. So this is the advantage of using a for loop with the arrays. Okay, so in JavaScript arrays are implemented in the form of a array object. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅರೇನ as I told, JavaScript is entirely based on objects. Instead of creating a class, we are directly creating the objects. That's why here arrays are implemented in the form of a array object. And see here, the property of the array object is length, or the key property of the array object is length. In short, if you want to access the length of the array in previous example or not, instead of using x is less than 4, instead of this, if you can use x less than student dot length. Okay, so that is now the student dot length. What is the length of the array? 4. So this will be treated as 4. If you don't know the length of the array, in that case you can use this to find the length of the array. Okay, and here the length means the number of elements of an array. Okay, and again two of the key array methods are reverse and sort. So you can also reverse the elements of the array, or you can also sort the elements of the array by using these two methods. Okay, and see, elements of array can be of any type. You can even have an array containing other array. See here, as we discussed in the C or C++ and Java programming language, what I told, so array contains only homogeneous data type of an element. Okay, but what is the difference between the other languages and JavaScript is, here in arrays we can store any other type of elements in arrays. Instead of just storing strings or numbers or boolean values, we can store the mixture of numbers, strings and boolean values in arrays of ಜಾವಾಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಅರೇದೊಳಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಬೂಲಿಯನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ಚರ್ ಇರುವಂಥ ಅರೇ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಜಾವಾಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಅರೇಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್ ಅರೇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ C, C++ and Java. And see, so this is all explanation about the previous example. Here student is an instance of array object, and student was declared such that its length is 4, so that array is having 4 elements, and 4 elements are stored in the index 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and see here, this is how to create an array. And see, this is an object. Array object means what? This is a one car. Okay, so this is our object, and here we are going to create an instance of a car. Okay, and now the instance of an object is 6. Now this is not an object, these are the instance of the object. Okay, and see, all instance of an objects are objects themselves in a JavaScript. So ಅವೇನು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ರಿ, ಅವು ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ those are all instance are also a object themselves. And see, and those all objects or instance may differ in color or in size or in shape, anything it may be, but they all are differ from the main or a parent object array. See, the student is equal to new array 4, and see here the naming rules for array identifiers are same as we discussed for the variable identifiers. ನಾವು ಏನು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವೋ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ರೂಲ್ಸು ಏನಾಗ್ತಾವೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗ್ತಾವೆ. ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಆಲ್ ದ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈರ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ವೈಲ್ ವಿ ನೇಮಿಂಗ್ ದ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈಯರ್ಸ್. and just you have to remember here, just like C, C++ and Java, first element of an array must starts with the is always starts with the index value, that is 0. Okay, and see, and the difference between the JavaScript arrays here, JavaScript arrays are heterogeneous, as I told. So unlike other languages, JavaScript array can hold the elements of multiple data elements simultaneously. See here, A is a array and created with the length 9, and B is the array created with the length 13, and here I am storing a value, floating point value in the B array at the index 1, but at the index 0, but at the index 1 I am storing the string type value, and again in the index 2 I am storing a character value. So this is a valid statement. These are all a valid statement because in JavaScript arrays are heterogeneous. Okay, and see here, so here this is how we can use the array. Here x is equal to new array, that is new x is created, and here the x is we are using a one for loop, x equal to 0 and x is less than or is equal to 10 and x is equal to x plus 1. Instead of this we can use write the for loop like this, and this statements calculate the length of the array. And array method sort, so it sorts the elements in alphabetical order. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದಾರೆ array ಒಂದು x ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ array ಐತಿ, ಆ x ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೈಪ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, and here these all values are sorted just by using this method. You have to use the array name whatever it may be, and after that you have to call a function that is sort or a method, and in this case it sorts all the elements of an array, and to print those sorted elements you have to use a for loop. For k is equal to 0 and this is count variable, and k is less than x dot length, it calculates the length of the array and it becomes 4, and k is equal to k plus 1, and here document dot write x of k value is, what is the k value? K value is 0, and we are the sorted adag yavadu irutte first, that is cycling, and it will be print. Similarly the next sorted value element will be appear on the output screen. See here, so this is the output what we get after execution of these statements. Okay, and see here you don't need bari ishtu matra baribardu code, you have to write entire the program using from HTML opening tag to end of the HTML tag. Okay, first you have to open with the HTML tag, and after that body, and after that you have to write a body tag, and after that you have to write the script tag. Within script tag you have to write all these statements, and next close the script, close the body tag and close the HTML tag, and save the program with the .html extension and execute the program. So you will get the output like this. Okay, and see, so you have to write the same program for reversing the elements na reverse ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೀರಿ. ಸೊ ಬರೋದು output na check ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, and see this is the elements to reverse the statement. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this code and you can write the example for the arrays of JavaScript. Okay, and see one more example. So now let us do more sustainable examples. See here, so you have to develop a web page that prompts the user for 10 words and then display them in the form of a list in two different ways. ಹೌದಾ, ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಒಂದು ವೆಬ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 10 ವರ್ಡ್ಸನ್ನು ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಎಲ್ಲ 10 ವರ್ಡ್ಸು ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ in the order in which the words were entered. ಯಾವ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅದೇ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾರಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಓಕೆ, and for this, before looking at a code, let us first understand what that code is supposed to do. See here, ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಗೆ ವಿಂಡೋ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆ ವಿಂಡೋ ಪೇಜ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ 10 ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ವರ್ಡ್ ಕೌಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ 1 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ 2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ 10 ವರ್ಡ್ಸು ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. and this is unsorted word, just list ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಾ. First these all must be entered words may be unsorted, so it will display the unsorted manner. In the next way, in the next case, it has to be display the words in a sorted manner. Okay, so this our output must be like this when we execute the program. Okay, and see, this is the code. Head HTML, head section, title section, and title to the web page is sort 10 codes. And see here, you can see here, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ sort 10 words ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬಂದೈತೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. So this is our title to the web page. And next, script word is equal to new word, new array, and here I am creating the array as words and of length 10. And see here, this is the for loop to enter the value or to count the values. Value ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಕೌಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. that is k is equal to 0, k is less than word length, and k plus plus words of k. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ವರ್ಡ್ k ಒಳಗೆ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಎಂಟರ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ವಿಂಡೋ ಡಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ವಿಂಡೋ ಡಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್. ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಅಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ರೀ, ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ವೆಬ್ ಪೇಜ್. ನೀವು ಯೂಸರ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಂಡೋ ಡಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎಂಟರ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್. ಎಂಟರ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಯಿತಾ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಎಂಟರ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ #0 ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು, ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್. ಎಂಟರ್ ಅ ವರ್ಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ. ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಎಷ್ಟೈತ್ರಿ, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 0, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಸ್ ಅ 0. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಕೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗೈತೆ ರೀ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು post increment, that is k is equal to k plus 1. okay, so initially this will be created when you enter one value into the prompt or a text box, so it will increment the value of k, so it will take the all values. So finally it will execute until the condition become false. That means it will accept 10 words from the user, and once the condition become false, the control will become out of the loop, and next it will print the words in unsorted order. For that purpose, here I am using a one line break, and after that, see here, this is the for loop which is used to access the stored value. ಅರೇದೊಳಗೆ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಫಾರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್. ಫಾರ್ k is equal to 0, k is less than word dot length, and k plus plus. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಅ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಅರೇ. ಹೌದಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನು ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ವರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆ ಇಸ್ 0, ಸೊ 0ದೊಳಗೆ ಏನು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಎಂಟ್ರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರೋ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ದ ಅರೇ, word sort. So now the words will be sorted and stored in the array. And one more time to display the sorted array, same thing we have to write here once again. And when you execute these statements, you will get the sorted order of words or entered words. And this is the end of the script, end of the head and end of the body tag. And see here, we all wrote these statements within the head section. It's not there is no problem, you can write these statements within the head or in the body section. And here head is closed, body is open, and body is closed, and this is HTML close. Save this program with a .html extension and execute the program. When you execute the program, you will get the output like this. Okay, and see ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಆ ಕೋಡನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು. Okay, so this is all about arrays. And see here, as I told, a Java in arrays are heterogeneous elements. Similarly, in JavaScript, arrays are created in 3 ways. Arrays na ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ 3 ways ಒಳಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. The first one is by array literal ಆಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ in the second method is there just by creating an instance of array directly using new keyword. Last ನಾವೇನು example discuss ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ರಿ, that is the second method in which we are creating an instance of an array directly using a new keyword. And one more method is there by using an array constructor. array constructor ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅರೇನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Okay, and see here, this is the syntax of creating an array. There must be a variable and after that provide the array name and the value which you want to store in the array. Those values must be placed within the square bracket and separated by comma. Okay, then this a variable is treated as a array. Okay, and this is the simple example for the array. You can take the screenshot of this example where we are creating the array employee and storing the employee name as Ganesh, Rakesh and Ratan, and store values. Here I am displaying the stored values of an array by using a for loop, and it calculates the length of the array, and this statement prints the array's values in the from the respective index. And when execute this statements, you will get the output as Ganesh, Rakesh and Ratan. It will be displayed on the web page. Okay, and see the next type or next method is to create the array just by creating a instance of an array object directly. See here, var array name new array. This is the second method from which we can create the array. So already now we method na discuss ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, and here the new operator create an instance of an array object. That here array is a parent object, and now we are creating an instance of the parent object array. Okay, and see here employee is a array instance of an array object. Okay, and here we are storing some values for the index 0, 1, 2 as Arun, Varun and John respectively, and once again I am printing the stored value of an array using a for loop, and this statement prints the stored value of an array from the respective index 0, 1, 2 or until the condition become false. And once the condition become false, the loop will come out of the control will come out of the loop and end the script, end the body and end the HTML. When you execute this program, finally you will get the output like this. Okay. And the third method, that is JavaScript using array constructor. New keyword na use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು array constructor na use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ create ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. And see here, in this method, here you need to create an instance of an array by passing the argument. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ array object ಗೆ arguments na pass ಮಾಡಬೇಕ್ರಿ, and in constructor, so that we don't have to provide a values explicitly value na specify ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. constructor ಗೆ argument na pass ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ array na create ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. And you have to place the opening and closing brace here. I forgot to place that. Okay, so I hope you will understand this concept or under this example. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you.